Okay, here we go. We are here today to talk about why podcast guesting doesn't convert. So I have a question for you. How many podcasts you have gone that led to zero clients? If this number is anywhere above zero, we have a problem. And I want to know, in general, like where are you right now? And are you not in podcast as a guest yet, or you are doing as a second option interviews, but don't get much clients from it, or you are getting clients from podcast guesting, but just want more? You can put in a chat, please, 1, 2, or 3, so I know who's here in what position.
I haven't done podcasts yet. I'll just voice it.
Yes, so that you're in one yet.
One part. There you go.
Yes. So we have ones and twos. Thank you for participation. 1.5. I love that. So why I'm talking here is that I used to be sending my clients 5 years to podcasts as guests, but I was the invisible operator. I didn't send myself to any. And then I realized I don't practice what I preach. And I started this year to understand that I need to speak, network, and that I started a couple of years ago, and write. Because if I make a system, I can change everything. So the podcast interview leverage method applies to everything in life. It's actually about having a system for everything you do, a structure, a goal. And that's how I turned from just sending my clients the podcasts to actually teaching them the system to use it for their business goals. Just a little bit about what I achieved now. In one day, I'm going to be a published author. Tomorrow, today's Inspired Leader book is going out. We have a in-person book launch in Chicago. I can't go, but then we have another virtual launch in May 13th. And there I tell a little bit story how I built what I do behind the scenes and who I need to become. And I've done with my clients more than 200 podcast interviews, thousands of pitches, and last year's been like 30 with clients. I didn't even count the early years. Then overall, I'm from Estonia. I'm born in Sweden. I'm half Finnish, and I lived in Turkey, France, Spain, a little bit in Colombia, and then came here to Mexico. So that's what I do now here. I help people mostly from US and Canada because that's where the English speakers live. So when I started doing things, so I also been in some podcasts, being guest expert, or gonna be in this year more, and I've done summit speaking as well. So stepping into practicing what I preach. So why the visibility fails? There's at least 3 reasons. Most people go on podcasts that they have like 47 listeners. If you look at average YouTube podcast, I mean, there's 20, 50 listeners, 8 views, 200 max views. So that is a very small audience. Then there is no authority positioning. You're one of many, a generalist or a specialist. like many other. And then there's no conversion system. So most guests stop after the show. Maximum they do is share once on LinkedIn. I just came from a summit where people were telling, like, that's what I usually do. I put it once on LinkedIn, and they stop, and the leverage happens after it. So they don't get the results. So they have like this mañana mindset, tomorrow mindset that, if I just go on a podcast, I hope I get some sales. I don't have time to do anything right now. So that's what I did. I was in a like constant content treadmill. I just posted just one time, and I hoped that something happened. And then I realized, that is not working. What works is really leveraging it. So what is happening is the ignorance tax. So 85% of podcast guests never follow up with the host or their leads. They just put them in the general marketing list. Then there's no revenue generated, and they just share it once, even though they have done the pitching, I don't know how many hours, but it can take many hours. The 45-minute prep for the interview, 1 hour interview, and then getting the assets. And after that, and they get only one post out of it. How many clients it will bring? I don't think many. So I created this system to get booked on the right shows, to convert by authority during the interview, and to multiply after the interview. So that's called the podcast interview leverage method. What to do before, during, and after the interview. So first part is pre-interview positioning. How many of you think that you would have different results if you say that you are category of one, the specialist of one framework, method, or something that anybody have never heard of in your industry, in your niche? That is one thing that makes big difference, because most people go as, I'm a relationship coach, healer, business mentor. But what is that makes you obviously totally different from everybody else? That is one thing that have made big difference for my clients. And then the pre-chat. Many people skip it. And there is where you actually align with the host. Many things. You align your goals, the host goals, their audience interests, the interview flow, the promise, how you both will promote it, and what after the episode, what other things you do together. You can do many things in the pre-chat. When people skip it or only treat it as host to guest, like it's not only host to guest conversation, it's business owner to business owner conversation. And then you prepare, you also listen to other episodes, and there's so many people who have their virtual assistant book them interviews. They show up and they're like, hi host, I don't even know your business, but let's start, and there is a big mistake, because this can't be a good interview if you don't research the last episodes of the host and of the audience. Then the category of one I was talking about is like what people remember when you talk, like what they remember about you. Who are you? What is your, put in the chat, what is that the sentence they remember who you are, the shame slayer, the relationship healer, the business sales unicorn, what they remember about you, because that's very important to decide the direction, how you want people to remember you. There's a positioning, not just hope they remember something. Great, we have some great answers. I love it. The pet storyteller, the voice brander. And the post-interview monetization, that it's all is connected still to the episode itself. But for example, how many times you tell them about the next step, how do you build attention there? But the next steps is the lead magnet, the social media clips, you can even use the recording to send to a private community as a audio to teach them something. Use it in YouTube, write blog articles about it, make email campaigns about your podcast interview, and use some recording parts as your paid courses and coaching. Write a book chapter from every episode you go. You have some different angle. You can finally write a book about it. So doing it yourself is like you get the visibility, you get the one-off audio, you get better at talking, and then you hope for sales. But what I'm really offering you to use is a leverage system. It's like really a pipeline strategy, using all of this as your IP, your vault. You can write book chapters of your episodes, and really have a system. That's because speaking is not the product. Access is the product. So most guests stop at the interview, but the leverage happens after it. One way I like to teach the framework of speaking is like starting from the dinosaur, because people remember emotional things like animals. Even I have no speaker who use like toys in the stages. So like the way to remember this framework is starting from like the dinosaur pain, and then the destination island, the dream where your audience want to go, and you are the bridge to their dream island. And very important work of the episode in the podcast is breaking those false beliefs by securing the bridge with the railings of your micro stories, how you help them to stay on the bridge and go over easily to their dreams. And they can go under the bridge, but it's longer, it's wet, there are alligators who can bite you. But if you come with me on the bridge, it's safe, it's baby proof, and that you arrive safely and faster to your dream island. There are other methods to use, like just like me effect. Be human, imperfections. That's what makes people feel connected. I mean, vulnerability is the power. And some people just want to sound very professional, but the human leverage is like showing that besides being professional, I'm still human. I still make mistakes. I still have my imperfections. So during the episode, and also I'm virtual summits, I hear the same issues. People sometimes, or many times, they have great PDFs, but those PDFs are not so exciting for people to actually take the next step with you. So very often they stay in the download folder in the computers of people. So I think the new way is to do interactive experiences as a lead magnet or as a call to action. Like my recommendations are a quiz or assessment. So listeners really want to diagnose their problem. So they're like excited to learn something about themselves thanks to you. Or if you're a writer, then first chapter of your book. So it's great authority and curiosity because it's going more deeper into your mind than just like 10 tips on a PDF. And my favorite way of my best clients use that is a free masterclass as a call to action, because then people really come to your world to learn more deep about you, because on the podcast, you're still giving them the first taste of you because it's the questions and answers and the limited format. But in your own masterclass, you lead the room. So I really recommend inviting people to your community or masterclass or similar. And then the big difference that most guests don't do is when they have the interview, the lead magnet, the smart follow-up. How many of you have sent emails to people saying, thank you for coming from this podcast? Because most lead magnets lead to general marketing email lists. And then using the episodes as a lead capture for long after the first promotion went out on LinkedIn and Spotify was publishing the episode, is actually having them on your website, on your bio, on your social media, maybe as a list, maybe a Spotify list of all interviews you have done. And in your website, you can ask them to ask you a personalized question. So, and you can get the lead and answer it based on your episode. So this thing is really, for me, I'm still learning to implement this for myself. I mean, it's really big differentiator of everybody else. Even big clients I know who had their episode on the website, they didn't have any question under the episode. So there's now actually a partner of mine who does this as with AI, podcast lead flow, but you can do it yourself. You can just ask the questions and ask the email to answer it personally after the episode. Everything they listened and they got curious and wanted to know more, pick your brain more without the bigger commitment yet. So speaking is not the product, the access is. So because you get the borrowed trust and you get access to pre-qualified audiences with the podcast, and that is what we need to leverage. So there's something that podcast guesting does that it's not in other ways. That's why I believe in speaking as the most powerful way to market and sell. Is it gives you the intellectual capital. You sharpen your ideas when you speak. It gives you hours of content and touch points with the clients. It gives you relationship capital with the host. With some people have made more money with just collaborating with host, making joint ventures with the host than even the audience. And the social capital that you're connected now with the host company, and the leader who's leading the show. So there is this joint ventures, there is referrals. Lots of people don't do a debriefing meeting with the host. Like you can refer to host other people to be in their show, and then refer you other hosts or other collaborators possible for you. And then obviously the repurposing engine, much more than just one LinkedIn share. And then the emails for the people who come from your show or have questions about your episode. So I just want to say, why would you keep doing the same if you can have more clients and a system? I mean, it's like the Einstein, sentence, like, I keep doing the same, but hope different outcomes. And that's the definition of crazy. So I have this opportunity to work with me, if you're ready, to go on 18 podcasts, 6 months, with a full interview leverage framework, one-on-one coaching, and a group mastermind. In this slide, the value is undervaluated. I have a better slide for it because I put here, I think it was AI putting here the value of 18 podcasts, only 4,500, and I fixed it because really booking it from so many podcasts is already very valuable. But there's two options to work with me. Is like $999 per month or 5,000 upfront. So you get 1,000 almost discount. Just some people I've worked with, I've sent them, like bigger tech startup leader, I sent them to the 0.05 top podcast globally, like the Entrepreneurs on Fire or Future Ready Leadership. But many other clients I've sent to the Agile Brand podcast or the Business of Story that are top 1% global podcasts. So we really get, results from our clients and not just booked, because that now I added the framework. So here I added the real value that I fixed from the first AI values. So getting to all those podcasts is the biggest value. Then the full leverage framework, because most people, they just take the information and just go on with their days. They don't do anything about it unless they have a ass-kicking accountability coach like me. So I do the one-on-one coaching like all the time. Like, did you do the pre-chat? Did you do those things in the pre-chat? What did you do during the episode? How do you prepare for the episode? What do you do after? Then the group mastermind to talk with other people who have done it, have made money from podcasts, and learn from each other what we have done wrong, what we have done well. I have two stories. Nick Musica was one of my clients who worked with me 1.5 years. So he was a service provider, a very good marketing SEO agency, and he had the other business with intuition coaching, more spiritual. So after working with me, he had increased sales, so he had more invitations to speak, and he combined those two businesses together with higher level of executive coaching, thanks to all this journey of going to, I think, more than 60 podcasts with me. Then John Witt is a business mentor for small businesses, business coach, and he uses those podcasts we went to get. I sent him to really have a leverage before they work with the client. So it's like a proof that he's somebody, he has expertise, he uses it in social media, website, everywhere, and then he invites people to his masterclass where he converts them. So what's the true cost of inaction? Because if we do the same we have done before, we get the same results, no clients or very few clients. I've also worked in with this business roster of people, for example, marketing and sales expert, fractional SMO, B2B agency owner, and other SEO agency owner besides John. So this is what I love. Like, how many clients do you need to get return on investment? For example, if your average client value is $2,500, you need 2 clients to get your return on investment from my package. But if you get more clients than that, there's just poor profits. Like, for example, from 4 clients, it would be $4,000 profit. So you don't need even thousands of clients. You just need few high value clients to get the return on investment. And coming from 6 to 20 clients, you can get like 9,000 to 44,000 profit for this example. So I just want to tell who is it not for also. I don't work with people who just want, just want information and don't do anything. That's not gonna work. People who want to get rich quickly doesn't work either, because it is a lot of work in you and your business. And if you still wanna stay in the shadows, then keep doing what you're doing. So I also worked with the healing grocer people, like homeopath, yoga community leader, health coach, meditation community leaders, and relationship coach and energy healer, for example. So for people who are here, live or in replay, I also have a plan that you can get a little more time to get return investment. So you can start with just paying $333, and next month $666, and then just from third month we go to the regular $999 per month, and it gives one more month to have more clients before we go into full payment. So it is a 1 month and extra. No worries, Leslie is going. But I want to say, if you're not ready to, work with me, and you're not in a hurry of making more sales from podcasts, but you still want to learn and improve, not just transform immediately, but learn from others, then we have the free community, the Podcast Guesting Mastermind, which is separate from the mastermind I do for my clients, but it's part of it. So the conversion lab, the podcast conversion lab on Skool, I just started 3 weeks ago. We already have today 60 members. So the potential, the growth is big. And I would love to see you all there, so we can do some calls when everybody actually talks, not just me. Everybody says what has worked, what has not worked, and what they have learned during the process, so we can all get better. But I'm also happy to hear about you here and now about this. So what has worked? Who has made money or got an invitation? And what did you do there that worked? I'm
So
sure that
you're I'm sorry. Was someone
yeah,
talking?
yeah,
Was that
you.
you? Oh, okay. Um, so there's 2 podcasts out of the over 100 that I've been on that did convert into clients. And crazy enough, it's not even like my specialty. It was just near-death experience, but they connected with my story. Um, being on over 100 podcasts has not worked. The hosts are like, oh, we're pushing it out to this many people and blah 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 blah, and crickets. So I do like your method. I like, what you promise and things like that. And I think I shared that with you before. Um, I'm really impressed with your method. But the podcast being on my YouTube not working. Someone told me to try that. Someone recently shared that I should clip them. Now that I'm going to try. That I should clip them, and then the other thing that I'm going to try, which you suggested, I learned this from you when you spoke at my summit, was to give away some of your books. So I'll be giving away like a page of my book, um, or the page of the book that I'm in, um, you know, as a teaser. So thank you very much. It's a lot of helpful information. You're amazing. And I thank you for putting this together.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Andrew.
All right, this is great, Marlon. Thank you. So I've been on many, many podcasts. The ones that I tend to get clients from are those where I share very specific information, let's say for photographers, and I go into things like, oh, this is my favorite type of paper, and this is the printer I use, because those are niche, and people who listen to those are generally interested. They have their own printer, for example. So the more niche it is, I find the more clients I'm able to get. But I'm definitely into clipping. It's just a matter of doing it and, being intentional about it. So I'll add that.
Andrew,
Yeah.
can you share with me in the chat what you're using to clip?
There's all kinds of different ways. One is Veed, VEED. I mean, it's almost endless. A lot of people use CapCut. I would say there's free options. CapCut is probably the most popular. I would just start there.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We have Wayne in the waiting list.
Yes, hello. Um, so I don't really do podcasts myself, but I work with Eric Lofholm. He's a sales trainer and coach. I don't know if you've heard of him before. He's been around for like 28 years. He started with Tony Robbins back in the day, and I am in charge of getting him on podcasts and getting him speaking opportunities and doing JV deals with other influencers and trainers like yourself. Um, and so I attend a lot of things like this and I talk to people like you. Um, so what Eric does is a proven method. He's been doing it for 28 years. And when he goes and speaks in person or he speaks on a podcast, he, first of all, is a great speaker. But then, second of all, he offers a free resource of some type. It could be a free coaching call with him. It could be a free training, whatever. We have them all the time, and he he offers that whatever that thing is that he's offering. Uh, he never sells on a podcast. Never sells when he speaks. I mean, he can, but he always offers something free. And then, I help him manage the back end. We use Go High Level, and we actually sell Go High Level as well. Um, and we have a whole email system set up. And then I also do all of his video stuff because I'm a photo and video guy by trade. Like that's me. So I use Opus Clip to clip out his stuff. So I can drop some links in the chat if you want to check out the stuff I'm doing.
Thank you. I also use Opus Clip or the script. That's another good one. Just talking about other ways, I just remember I have a bonus slide that I didn't share. That is one way you can still leverage after the interview is using the podcast you have been as the connection to connect with other guests. Really, this is like a built-in common ground, instant credibility, and warm and not cold, and gives higher response rates to collaborate with other guests on the podcast you have been. That's something that's underutilized. People don't have time even to scroll through all the guests that they're been, where they're going, but really taking this time because there is a high possibility there are other your ideal clients or ideal collaborators in the same podcast you have been. So this is something that I've also added to my framework. Yes, let's have Lisa.
So I'm just really curious about what you just said. I didn't even know that. I mean, I haven't been on that many podcasts, but I'm actually going to be on a third time tomorrow with a woman that has been in the radio world forever, and she's invited me back again. We just have a great time talking and have a great connection. But I didn't know we could get access to the list of listeners. How do we do that?
So right now I was talking about the list of other guests that have been in the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. But one way to have see who are active listeners is checking who's commenting on YouTube for the podcasts. If there are actually, comments on or LinkedIn of the hosts of the podcast, you can see who are the listeners as well. But obviously there's not the list that they can share, but there is, some workarounds.
And so then just access to so just going to her show and seeing all the different episodes and see the different people that have been on her show. That's how you connect with them.
Yes, what I was sharing now in the slide was the leveraging the other guests, go and using the connection that you have been the same show, you've been trusted by the same host as the leverage to connect with them.
And I just want to thank you for reminding me, because before the last time I was on, I did go listen to some of her episodes. I got to see her picture and see what she actually looked like, which was really fun because she's a much older woman. And you just remind me, go check out some of her latest podcasts before we talk tomorrow. So this was really great. Your slides are amazing. Your platform is fantastic. And I think you're really, really, really great. Thank you.
Appreciate you very much, Lisa. Does everybody else have something to share? What has worked to give most value to this group? Yes, Paulette?
Yes, hi. I'm really fortunate that I've got a unique topic that people kind of are dumbfounded that it can be as easy and different as it is, and that's that I help people monetize the how-to sound bites that they constantly give away. It's monetizable, and I straddle the marketing and the publishing worlds, and I'm not completely in either of them. But what I have found is that to be memorable, I have the good fortune to have a decent sense of humor. I have an indecent sense of humor also, but that's for a different audience. And there you just saw an example of it. I keep it light while I'm giving really actionable information and then definitely following up. And one of the things that I've discovered is that the model of having 52 tips is so flexible and so powerful in being present without being annoying. So dripping a tip a week that's educational is something that it takes a while for people to get annoyed by that. And generally, it's not every single time that your hand is out asking for their credit card. So there's a variety of things that have occurred that way. Um, and the differentiator is not really rocket science as far as what I landed on. So I really wonder if, well, I know that another way to have those podcasts be converting into clients and into revenue is to make it so realistic for somebody that they just can't not do it on some level. And as far as that's concerned, it really is necessary to have a wide range of price points in what you've got, unless you only ever want to deal with the high ticket items, and that's how you start out. But otherwise, as far as starting out with a $5 item and expecting to ultimately land at $500,000 per a year-long program, there's a gap in there that's really tough to smush together. Marlene, I'm so glad that I have met you. I look forward to doing some good joint venturing. We do have a lot of the same clients, and that's another thing to be aware of for any of us who are looking for building what a clientele can look like. Who is already serving people who are in the similar audience as you are or want to be? So I offer that as well.
Thank you so much, Paulette. I just remembered something I shared recently to one of my contacts that was asking, how do I control in the episode of podcast where the host is asking the questions? And she said it made a huge difference when I told her to prep every possible answer, how you guide it back to your sound bite, and to guide it back to your direction, your message, because you can acknowledge the question, and if you don't like direction the host is going, you can still make a bridge to your point.
For sure.
All right. Do we have somebody else who have made money from podcasts in this room? Chris, have you made money?
Here's my mute button. No, I have had a couple of clients, so I've made a bit of money, but it was a while ago. It hasn't been consistent, and to be fair, I haven't been consistently on podcasts. I did a masterclass for Event Raptor earlier this year, and that paid off quite well. So that was worth a couple of grand basically. So it does happen, but I don't have a system. So I have joined the podcast conversion lab. I joined that that's how I found out about this actually. So I am looking forward to catching up with some of the other people here in that to see if what we can do together to build that and get my systems in place, which aren't in place right now.
Love this. Thank you so much. Joe, you want to add something?
I was only going to state that actually your presentation was spot on, very good, and you made an impression. The podcasting side for me is actually pre-stageable to the extent that I actually haven't approached in that direction with Theo Global. However, even though you live in Mexico, but now I learned that you're not originally from there, which now is beginning to make more sense, which kind of cracks me up because being born here in the States, but my family's Cuban. So yeah, I got a little bit of misdirection that way as well, even though I live in Florida. However, the approaches actually did spark some interest, as well as actual directions I've taken also, being that I work in the IT industry. IT constantly changes, as everybody knows, because technology will never remain the same. It has evolved throughout the decades and hundreds of years. It actually impresses me as much as actually I learned even the other night that AI didn't start just only in this century. It goes back farther than we even realize. And the thing is how it evolved is truly how it's also going to accelerate that we've all been exposed to. In the podcast side, I'm not foreign to what is about public speaking. And it's correct way you actually approached it using questions. Questions means it's engaging us, the audience, because not only about the message being provided, it's also about the response or reflection from it. And even when asking questions, because most of us have been exposed to the Tony Robbins speeches, Wayne Dyer, may rest in peace, that actually did excellent speeches also between Hawaii and other parts of the world, various other speakers. And I have been leveraging LinkedIn quite a bit. I have seen so many speeches, actually almost like, what could I do now? How can I approach this to then not just make it a story about me, more about them and what I can do to provide some kind of service or product or answer when they have frustration going on in their head and it's like everywhere, which you've touched on. People can be oblivious. And you're correct. Einstein's theory of repetition without change is insanity, not craziness. It is pure insanity. And some people called him stupid. A poor mathematician, but yet the guy actually did denies about light speed. So I'm like, I don't know. Think a little further, people, outside the box. But thank you for this. It's actually rewarding. I was almost going to jump out, but I'm like, I got time. I can give it. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I want to, for all of you to save some time before your next meetings. So I'm going to just sum it up with this like, let's make it simple. Like, you're already doing the work. It's just make this work to pay you. You can keep doing interviews, or you can turn them into a system. Which one do you want? Thank you, everybody.